So we are officially in some crazy times. According to reports, we have to increase our debt ceiling by June 1st, or else the U.S. could default on its debts. However, some say Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is bluffing, and that is actually not true. But here's where things get very interesting. Right now, Congress's plan to solve the debt ceiling crisis is to negotiate between Republicans and Democrats and Speaker Kevin McCarthy and President Biden, figure out a deal and increase the debt ceiling. That's the plan. But how do they do this? Well, this is where some say more stimulus could be added. Yeah, they are trying to figure out a way to increase the debt ceiling, but at the same time, now they're saying in order to pass some of these, the Republican agenda, now they might have to include a little bit of stimulus to help the American people. Just listen to this. Now, before we get into a little bit more of it, I first just want to say that right now, it's a very interesting time because there's a chance of a recession. We are dealing with the potential debt ceiling, and obviously that could create not just a recession, but potentially a depression. We currently have home prices dropping. Unemployment is still extremely low, but at the same time, some are saying that there's millions of workers that just aren't there. They're not working. Or some people are taking on 2 or potentially 3 jobs. So again, very interesting times. But according to multiple bank CEOs, they're actually saying that they anticipate the U.S. to dip into a recession in the third quarter of 2023. So we are coming up upon that time. But it's because of this. They are anticipating layoffs. They're anticipating even steeper declines in consumer spending. They anticipate consumers will just stop. They'll stop paying their bills like credit cards, auto loans, and things like that. We will see housing prices crash even more because they will stop paying their mortgages and they will just put the money into food and things like that. So why does this matter? Well, here's the reason this matters, and this is why Congress is trying to do everything that they can, or at least that's what they say, in order to fight for us, the American people. Now, here's what's currently being discussed. Now, obviously, Republicans have already given their proposal. In their proposal, they are talking about additional work requirements. Now, the work requirements would only be expanded for SNAP benefits and Medicaid. Now, the reason why this is such a big deal is because right now, when we are expected to dip into a recession, probably within the next 3 to 6 months, if this is going to happen, how do we make it out of this? How do we get through it? How can the American people survive? Well, here's what lawmakers are saying. Lawmakers are looking at ways to provide relief to those that truly need it. Progressive lawmakers are extremely up in arms lately about the possibility of seeing SNAP benefits and Medicaid get additional work requirements in a time when millions cannot afford this. Here are some of the additional stimulus they're looking at. The first one is the child tax credit payments. Yeah, they want to bring this back. Now, before anybody comments or jumps on me saying, well, what about people on Social Security? What about the elderly? What about those that do need additional help? Can't work, can't do any of these things, and yet why are lawmakers only looking at giving additional stimulus to children? Well, they're not. According to a few reports just the other day, lawmakers are actually looking at multiple different programs. One is the child tax credit payments. 2 is Social Security benefits. Now, I know I'm going to get the question, so does that mean we're getting $200 per month from Social Security? The answer is no. The answer is going to be no because right now, Social Security cannot afford this. But here is something that lawmakers are looking at. Could we include money for children, additional stimulus for children and parents? And could we include some additional stimulus for Social Security recipients? And how could we do that? Well, we do know that as of right now, there's still bipartisan support for these child tax credit payments. These are the $300 per month per child from the ages of 0 through 5, and $250 per month for children ages 6 to 17. These payments would be huge, would really help families, right? $250 or $300 per month. This would be more than enough to help those that have lost money from the SNAP benefit program. Because again, if you remember, SNAP benefits were cut. They were essentially cut because now you don't get the extra $95 per month. That stopped about 3 months ago. So that's the first one, child tax credit payments. And let me know your thoughts on that one as well. You can always put your comments down in the comment section below. Here's the second one. To change how Social Security is calculated. Change the cost of living adjustment. And the way to do that, they say, is to go from the CPI-W to CPI-E. This is geared towards the elderly. Now, here's the problem. And again, this is a little bit of a solution, but a little bit of a problem. If we change from CPI-W to the CPI-E, we are going to see a little bit of an increase to your cost of living adjustment for this upcoming year. That is something that lawmakers could get behind. That is something that could see bipartisan support, at least according to multiple reports. But the problem is, what about previous years? Do we adjust it and increase your benefit amount because we would have done that for the past 10 years? Is that something that we do? Well, according to this report, the answer is no. Lawmakers would never agree on that. There would not be bipartisan support. Republicans would pretty much vote this down. Well, we need Republicans because that is who controls the House of Representatives. So, where does that leave us today? Well, it leaves us with two options. Child tax credit payments would be a must. The Social Security increase, again, another must. But how do we do it? How do we get this increased? How do we provide additional relief and additional stimulus in a time like this? Well, this is what people are saying as of right now. Right now, what lawmakers are trying to do, or what President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, there was Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and also the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, they all met just yesterday. They talked about the debt ceiling crisis, how they could potentially get through this, what they can do, and how they can negotiate. Well, the reports indicate this morning that they're getting closer to a deal. We could see a deal done this week. That's good news because it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, May 17th. So if we can get a deal done this week, great. The only problem is some members of the House, more so the House than the Senate, are wanting to see their agenda included. This means additional stimulus. This means additional relief. This means not work requirements, but you would actually get paid family leave. This is something that lawmakers and Democrats in the Senate, they're reintroducing this. Paid family leave. They're trying to get something included into this debt ceiling bill. And the reason for that is because they say we need to provide additional relief to the American people. So, I just wanted to fill you in on what's going on because this is Congress's plan as of right now, is let's try to work out a deal between President Biden and Speaker Kevin McCarthy to work out a deal, and then they will add little pieces to it to make something that could potentially work and satisfy the majority of lawmakers. So, this time they say a deal could be struck this week, but my guess is if they can reach an agreement, lawmakers are then going to try to push other things into this bill. They will then be pulled out. So my guess is possibly next week or the week after. So just be prepared because as of right now, there's a lot of discussions happening, but these discussions might lead to something good or they might lead to something negative for the American people. But I promise I will keep you up to date on everything that's going on. All you got to do is click that like button on this video. Also click that subscribe button and I will see you guys on the next one.